Hello and welcome to this video tutorial. My name is Ryan Buck, and in this tutorial we are going to cover tab 5, the Roadway Plans tab of the Design Staff Hour Estimation Forms. This is what the new tab looks like. It has been updated. The updates were made in September of 2023, and they are released and published on the Scope of Staff Hours website. As you can see at the top, you'll still look similar. You'd enter in any names of the district, personnel or consultants, and their signature space. Over to the right is a how to use form. There's a link to this a video tutorial library for all these video tutorials, along with some instructions on how to use these forms. This tutorial will cover everything you need to know on how to use them, and then my contact information is at the bottom, so please feel free to contact me if you need to. So let's dive in and go over how to use these forms, and we'll go over some of the changes that were made and walk through each task line item by line item. The first thing you'd want to do is we're going to fill out some project parameters about the project, and it will calculate automatically for us a recommended staff hours to use based on the parameters and complexities that we told it about the project, and these are based on established guidelines. Then we'll have to determine if that those hours are appropriate. That'll just be a starting point. We'll have to determine if those hours are appropriate for that specific project. So the first thing we'll do is you can fill out this, which is the first question at the top of the page. What is the overall project complexity? And you'd see that the roadway guidelines, and it's right here in this red box. With the drop down, you can use this roadway guidelines tab over here and determine what is the overall project complexity based on what it's telling us here. We're just going to pick one of these. We'll say we have a mid-level project, so we'll come back over to tab 5 and hit mid, and it will fill in all of the line item tasks that use overall project complexity to determine, to calculate the number of staff hours estimated for that task. So we'll come back up here, and we selected mid, and we'll start at 5.1, which is your key sheet, and there's now a signature sheet. So we'll go over to the units right here, and it'll hover over it. It'll say, is a key sheet required? Yes equals 1, and no equals 0. So if we do have a key sheet, we would put a 1 right there. It won't let you put anything else besides a 1 and a 0. You'll see it'll recommend 4 hours for the key sheet. And then if we have a signature sheet behind it, right, is a signature sheet required? And we'd say, yeah, we have a signature sheet, and it'll recommend 2 hours. Now there's a note right here. If the key sheet's not required, then no hours will be given for the signature sheet. So for example, if I don't have the signature key sheet, but I have a signature sheet, it won't give me any hours. So just keep that in mind when you're filling that out. And then so this is a recommended starting hour right here. Calculated staff hours represent a recommended starting point for negotiations based on established guidelines. And then we have columns for the department. They can put in their recommended estimate of staff hours, the consultant can. And then the final negotiation hours right here would be this column. So it gives you options to kind of copy and paste if you're using multiple sheets, so you can compare the department and consultant estimates and get to a final negotiated staff hours based on the calculated starting point and the parameters you put in. So we'll move on to the next task. 5.2 is the typical section sheets. As you can see, there's 3 different rows right here for typical sections. And if you click on these boxes, we try to get them to explain exactly what we're looking for. So in this case, we'd have the estimated number of typical sections needed for a project. When CAD files are used to create typical sections are available for use. Includes standard details, so shoulder pavement details, asphalt. So when maybe you've already, maybe the consultant has done the typical section package in tab 4, so they have it, or they just have a library of CAD files and it's a standard typical section. That would be the case for this, so we'll just say we have 4 right here. This next one is the number of typical sections needed for a project when CAD files used to create typical sections are not available for use. Right here, so there's a couple things. So let's just say, they've got to recreate these typical sections, and it's going to take a little more time. So let's just say we have 2 of those. As you can see, 2 without any CAD files is more hours than 4 if you have kind of a library to kind of pick from. And then any partial sections, right, estimated. So partial sections used in lieu of creating another full typical section. Could enter that. 5.3 is cross-slope correction details. And this is based on pavement segments. So estimated number of roadway segment areas requiring cross-slope corrections. So typical sections, notes, and tables, right? All right. We'll just fill some out just so I can show you how it works. So we put 2. 5.4 is the general notes and pay items. In this case, would you have general notes and pay items? We'll say yes. Now this, you can see, has a red box right here with the drop down, and it's not already filled from the project complexity, and that's because this uses task complexity. So we could have a mid-level project, but let's just say we only have a few notes, so it'll be just simple. Standard or complex being a lot of notes. So let's just say we have a few, and I'll recommend 6 hours for a simple general notes and pay item sheet. 5.5, project layout and model management. It's project layout and model management sheet required. If it's not, you would leave it at 0, and it would recommend 0 hours. If it is, you put that in there, and it would recommend some hours. 5.6 is the plan view, plan sheets, right? Now we got to read this. So this is based on the length in miles. So the length of where the roadway plans are to occur in miles. So, and the length includes only the main line right here. So let's just say we have 2.5 miles of main line for this project. And let's just say there's 1 interchange. We could put that in there. And let's say we don't have any roundabouts. But if you did have any roundabouts, you'd put the number of roundabouts located within the project. 5.7 is the plan view. So this is the plan profile sheets. So this is the length of the project having flush shoulder. That's to be added. Let's just say we have a 1/2 mile of flush shoulder, and then we have 2 miles of curved. There we go. And you can see it's calculating some of these numbers based on the established guidelines for you, and you have to determine if these are accurate for your specific project and adjust accordingly. And you've got your documentation column over here to provide any documentation you need to provide for these estimates. 5.8 is special profiles. So in this case, we've got a driveway and a curb return or intersection railroad crossing. So estimated number of driveway or curb return special profiles, 6. And intersection or railroad crossing, we'll just say we have 2 intersections and no railroad. All right. That's how you do that. 5.9 is the sidewalk profile. This is in length. So the length of the project requires showing the sidewalk profile in the plans. We'll say we only have a 1/2 mile of this, and this is based on a task complexity. So we'll just say it's pretty simple and straightforward. But again, you can determine the complexity of the sidewalk profiles. 5.10 is the interchange layout. Right? So then we have number of interchanges. Let's see, I said we had one up there, but the number of 2-level interchange to be shown on layout sheets or or you could put the number of complex, right, which would be multi-level interchanges to be shown on the layout. And you could have multiple of both on the project. In this case, we only have one of these, but you could fill out those and it would recommend the hours. 511 is all of your details right here. So you've got your ramp terminal details, so number of ramp details, we have 4. And then we have an intersection layout details, 2. And then number of special details. Let's say we have 2 special details. And it'll recommend hours for all your details in your detail sheets. 512 is your soil survey sheet. This is a yes or no required. Let's say yes. And then 513 is your cross sections. Now, cross sections based on the estimated number of alignments to batch plot. So let's just say we have 5 alignments, and that'll batch plot is 5 alignments. 514 is the temporary traffic control plan. So you've got your temporary traffic control notes. This is a yes or no. So we'll say we got some temporary traffic control. Then you've got the length of the plan. Now keep in mind that if it's a low or below project, it's gonna recommend, and there's a big note here, it's gonna assume that you're using level 1 TTCP, which does not require plan sheets. It just only requires notes and details. So it will recommend 0 hours. In this case, we have a mid-level project, so it will recommend hours based on the length of the temporary traffic control plan. Then we have our estimated number of critical cross sections to be viewed or shown for the temporary traffic control, and then we'll got our details. All right. 515 is the utility adjustment sheet. It is also based on the length of the main line to be shown on the utilities. So, that. And then what is the estimated complexity of the utility adjustment sheet? And this is based on number of utility agencies. Let's just say it's simple. All right, 516 is the project control sheet. This is a yes or no. There's no complexity, it's grayed out right here. 517, the utility verification data, yes or no, and no complexity. Then we go down to our non-technical stuff. So 518 is your QA/QC. This is going to be on automatically as a 1. You can turn it off to 0 if you don't need it. It is locked in at 5%. That's what it's going to recommend. It's going to calculate 5% of this subtotal across the board, as you can see. If you do not want to use 5%, you can use another percentage, and you change it over in this negotiated box where the font is red. And so you could use 3%, you could use 7%. You'll have to self-calculate and enter it in right here. And then the total will carry over to the summaries tab. Same thing for 519 supervision. It'll calculate 5%. If you want to use something else, you can. And that is tab 5. Thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this. Again, my contact information is down here at the bottom right. Feel free to reach out to me if you have any questions, if you catch any errors, and I'll be happy to help. Thank you.